but it's pretty clean. I have to say it's pretty clean. What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing? We're back, LFDF TV. This time we are coming from my hometown, Newaygo, Michigan, at my mom's house, stepdad's house. So they're building like a big barn-dominium out here. It's a pretty cool setup. Yeah, but welcome to Michigan. Yes, I am one of those people that we do the, oh, I'm from this part of the mitten, blah, 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 you know, Michigander thing. I think that's what they call us, is the Michiganders. It's always a pleasure coming home. I bought another project while I was away. So yeah, I bought a car without even seeing it. I trust my guy, Mr. Ryan Romine. He's like one of my dad's friends growing up, one of my mom's friends growing up. Just one of the most solid persons that I have around me. A great influencer, everything. Just super great energy, awesome dude to be around all the time. One of my favorite people to come home to. And he stumbled across a little project for me. It's always really cool. He'll message me all the time and just be like, oh, hey, here's a deal right here, blah, 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 blah. Do you want it? And I feel like he even gives me first dibs on everything too. So always looking out for me, always building cool muscle car projects, and he's always interested in the Lexus projects and even dirt bikes. He has a CR250 two-stroke. What year is it? Let me think about this. I think it's a 98. So 98 Honda CR250 with a Yamaha RD350 motor in it. Is that right? And Yamaha RD350 motor? I know it's an RD350 motor. I don't know if it's Yamaha. I think it is, but put a comment down there if you know what it is. It's an RD350 engine inside of a CRF, or not CRF, just a CR250 two-stroke frame in 98. He has a CBR sitting there. That's like a crotch rocket, a Honda one. We're actually gonna build a project out of that thing. Not sure what yet. Probably like a grass drags rig, something. I'm not sure if it's gonna be like a side-by-side or a dirt bike with a long swing arm and everything, but we're gonna do something cool with that eventually. So anyways, we were probably somewhere out east, New Jersey or something, and randomly I'd get a bunch of messages from him that aren't even messages, well, they're videos, right? I'm watching them and he's, oh, look at this. Pulls a tarp back and it's beautiful car. It's obviously like tires are flat to the ground in the sand, sitting there, and we're in Michigan, so it's like figured, you know, it's gonna be like a pretty rusty car. It's a 1983. That's what I'll tell you right now. So that puts us at 40 years old pretty much. So they start showing me videos of the interior and videos of the frame, and I'm like, dang, that thing's actually pretty freaking clean. With help from my stepdad Jeremy and my mom and Ryan, and we got it back to the house and we got it sitting here. So we're gonna get to that though. But yeah, this is home. It's not exactly where I grew up, but it's in the same county. Yeah, I'm from like, I don't know, 10 miles further into the country than here. Pretty quiet place though. It's nice. But so bought the car. Where it is a bad transmission. It didn't have a hood on it, and it's carbureted. Water got in the motor, I'm sure. And then instead of pulling that out, rebuilding that, blah, blah, blah. I'm not even sure what motor's in it. Oh, I do. So the motor that's in it is from a 1978 Corvette. I think it has a 700 R4 transmission. I think that's what it is. I know it's a 700, but if it's an R4, I'm not sure if that's correct. So it's a pretty solid setup in there right now. Not exactly bulletproof, not exactly up to date. So yesterday, Leanne and I drove 3 hours from here down to Hammond, Indiana. So it's like right on the border of Illinois and Indiana on the southern tip of Lake Michigan. And I picked up something a little special to put in that thing. it's going to be a little bit more of a project for sure. But with everything that came with it, I think it's going to be a pretty solid setup. And not easy, but relatively smooth to put in. I'm going to have to buy some parts, build some parts or something. And with shows and everything traveling, it's not going to be an overnight thing. But hopefully before we go down south to Florida to ride Santa's Enchanted Forest with Travis Willis. What you doing, Willis? The hat. Always repping it. Travis Willis is the dude. Got me into YouTube. Got me set up on some sick shows all year. Positive mindset. So I'm really starting to surround myself with better people. And I've noticed as I've gotten older, I don't know if you'd say, I'm not an egotistic person, but like more respected. How about that? Okay. The respect level of myself, as I've respected myself more, I quit hanging out with certain people and doing certain things and whatever. As I've done that, my circle's gotten a lot smaller. Way more solid people. Way more solid people. The people are more solid. But yeah, we got some shows coming up with Travis Willis. Tulsa, Oklahoma. No, 15th to the 18th. Oh, that's another one. In Atlanta, Georgia. Cowboy Kenny Bartram. Number 690 on the KTM. OG, legendary FMX freestyle motocross rider. Got a hold of me to ride some shows with him. So that's going to be freaking awesome. I used to play with his toy dirt bikes, you know what I mean? Like he had his own Kenny Bartram KTM toy dirt bike. And as a kid, I would build jumps and tracks and all sorts of whatever in the yard. And dude, it was awesome. So now this guy is calling me to do shows with him. I get to ride with that guy. I'm sure you're going to see some videos from that. That's in September 15th to the 18th down in Atlanta, Georgia. But then the next shows I got lined up after that is like 10 days with Travis and Tulsa, Oklahoma for a state fair. So that's going to be super fun. We're back with Ed Rossi. If you just watched the previous video, super high energy, awesome, fun-loving guy. I love being around Ed. He is a lot of fun. But this car, it's red. It's been repainted. Super, super clean. I mean, clean as a whistle for its age. We're going to see what we can really do with it. If I keep it, I don't know. It's my first ever Chevy project. Normally you guys have seen from the videos and stuff, I'm way into the Lexus. The 1UZs are just awesome. They sound good. They perform well. Everything. But so we drove 3 hours all the way down to Indiana. Drove 3 hours all the way back. Met a really cool dude. Easy. I mean, off Facebook Marketplace. Really helped us out. Paid a little bit more than what I wanted to for it, but it's a super clean motor, and the transmission is exactly what we're looking for. There was another one actually in Detroit while we're doing those shows with Ed Rossi 2 videos back, probably, called Racing for Kids. Watch that video. It's cool. We couldn't do full gap, but it was awesome. I paid a little bit extra, but I got the bulletproof transmission. With this motor, I think we're going to need that bulletproof transmission. But oh, don't look at it too much there. I'm going to block it with this LFDFT t-shirt here. Ooh, LFDFTV. We got those for sale too. Just get a hold of us. But the transmission is right. Oh, block that. Blocking it. That transmission right there. That is the 4L80E. So if you are a Chevy guy, I probably already gave away what this motor is with the transmission. The 4L80E is one of the most bulletproof transmissions. Stock, it's good for like 600 horse, which, to be honest, I'm not really going for that much with this car, at least yet. I'm gonna see how it runs, just maybe a cam setup or something in there, but I'm not gonna go overboard with it right away. So when I was in Detroit yesterday or 2 days ago with doing that show, there was a, I almost said it. I almost said what the motor is. There was a 4L60 transmission bolted up to the same motor, and I was told I was just gonna break it. So rather than that, this setup was cheaper. I just had to drive there and back instead because I was already in Detroit, you know what I mean? Yeah, loaded it right up, drove it home, used the stepdad's truck. So that was nice and easy, saved on fuel. It's a lot smoother than driving the big box van everywhere. The only bummer part about this is that there's so many generations of this motor that it is hard to find. Well, the exact generation that I need is out of a certain car. And the cars are kind of rare. I feel like most of them that people have are like still clean. And I don't think they're parting them out. So I gotta just kind of stumble across these parts or just go straight aftermarket. And I'm kind of doing this on a budget. So I don't want to go aftermarket because it does get a little bit pricey. What we got here, drove all the way down there, drove all the way back, stopped at Quaker Steak and Lube because you pick up a fresh V8. Oh, there's a clue. It's a V8. It's a Chevy V8. I think you got to celebrate it with the old Quaker Steak, you know. Maybe my mustache grow a little longer too. Not sure. But here it is. It's a Chevy LS 6-liter. It is the cast iron block with aluminum heads. So it's the best generation could possibly ever pick for this. It's heavy. It's a huge anchor. But it's pretty clean. I have to say it's pretty clean. So that combo right there, the 80 with the 6-liter is going to be the money for that one. I do have to find LS1 parts. So the car I'm talking about is the Pontiac GTO. It's the F body. I need all sorts of parts from that, like oil pans, oil sump, intake manifold. My buddy Brandon, I can't pronounce his last name right, but Tinkham, he had a supercharged GTO that he just built, sold, and now he has a turbo Fox body that he's actually going to LS swap too. But he already hooked me up with some GTO F body, exhaust manifolds, injectors. So this 6-liter actually came out of a 2002 Chevy 2500 HD. The truck was totaled. I don't know, the guy pulled it out. Hopefully everything's good. It was garage kept on an engine stand. It was engine stand and everything was covered while it was in a garage too. So I mean, pretty much gonna toss it in, fire it up, and hopefully there's no noises or anything like that. It's a risk you gotta take when you're buying stuff used and there's no proof of it running. But check it out here. I mean, it's not a dirty motor. Looks pretty clean. But so the reasons I have to do F body parts for the GTO is right here, this radiator hose, that's gonna come up and hit the hood of the car. The alternator will hit the hood of the car, so I have to get an F body, or I can go with the Holley one or whatever other company, but I have to get the other accessory drive. Same with the intake manifold, it will hit the hood. I do want to go like a 4-inch cowl on the hood for this car, but that might be a future thing, and I still don't know if that intake manifold will fit. So got the trans. So it's a northern car, so I'm sure that some of that gunk and stuff needs cleaned off from there. And then what's crazy too is that for the most part it's all still intact. Normally these are like pretty rusty looking and stuff. This is gonna come off, the clutch fan. We're gonna go with electric fans. Oh, I don't know what else. Flex plate back there, extra radiator. We got the stock intake manifold up here. It's a truck one, so from what I'm aware of, it's the 90mm throttle body, which is the good one. This is also, I made sure that it's the cable driven throttle body, because I don't want to deal with the electronic gas pedal and whatnot. Coil packs, they're full entire engine harness. I think it's like the full body harness, because there's, see right there, there's like turn signals and everything. So how much of that am I going to use? I'm not really sure. There's a starter. But yeah, so this is going to be a pretty good little setup to go in this car. Trans cooler, which probably have to upgrade that. You know, do some basic stuff for your main seal and whatnot. That's why we have it apart. New plugs, wires, blah, blah, blah. You know,
Yup.
It's gonna be pretty cool. But we got the car pulled in the garage last night. Thanks to help from my stepdad Jeremy and step-grandpa Rod, my mom, Leanne. We got her in here. It's gonna need a little bit of work. Overall, it's a solid car. It's right here next to me. Now let's talk about this for a minute. My dad had one of these. We should probably make a video about a little story on my dad because he was freaking one of the most awesome guys ever. He had a 1986 one of these, same color, just with T-tops. So it's a certain body style. His was an automatic. I rode it in it as a kid. Maybe remember him doing a few burnouts in it, but I know he definitely drove the heck out of that thing. I think all bone stock, same color. I'm not a fan of this color, but it is what it is. But this one's a little older. This is an 83, Gen 3. So this one doesn't have T-tops. I like it better than T-tops, though. I'm not a big fan of T-tops. It's more stuff to leak, and it's 1983. Motor swapped with a 1978 Chevy Corvette engine. I think that is a 350. If you know what it is, let me know. I'm not sure what options they came with, but it's the one that bolts up to the 700 trans. So my dad had the Z28 IROC edition of this car. And this one is just the Z28. The only difference is the non-T-tops. This one's still an automatic. Interior is pretty clean. We got one crack in the dash. Ooh, two cracks in the dash. I see a new one. Get a new dash, just dash cover. Interior is pretty freaking mint. You know, obviously I'm gonna carpet clean it and everything. The door seals leak a little bit, so there's some water in there, but it's been sitting for I don't know how many years. But here it is, 1983, Generation 3 Chevy Camaro Z28. I mean, this thing is clean. No dents, no rust, no cracked windows. Just some flat tires. Actually, there is one dent. Let me show you. Well, two issues. One, hood there's cracked. These are fiberglass, so it's gonna be hard to make it perfect again. So probably have to get a new one of those. Number two is that front fender right there. Besides those two spots right there, I mean, this car is literally just perfect. You see any dents on that thing? Not one. She does need waxed and buffed and all that junk, but we're gonna get there. But I'm gonna pop this hood off real quick. It's already unbolted. I just gotta get it off, and we'll show you what's under the hood. All right, babe. So what do we got? What do we got in this thing right here? Tell them about it.
It's a motor. That's all I know. And something about an LS.
All right, so like I was saying, this engine right here, from what I was told, is from a 1978 Corvette. Don't know what edition, model, or anything like that it is. The numbers itself have been like grounded off a little bit, but that's what most shops do when they've done work to the motor. So from what Jeremy's seen or read from the numbers, he thinks it's either 305 or 350. So you wouldn't really know unless you tore it all apart and looked at it. Once we get it pulled out and everything, maybe we can read the rear numbers a little bit better. Water in the carb. It's oxidized. I don't even know if I can turn this over by hand. Everything on here is aftermarket. It looks like Edelbrock carb to even, you know, the valve covers, header, stainless steel, fuel pressure regulator. So who knows what fuel pumps in this thing. Pretty solid. Everything looks pretty gnarly, but we're gonna pull this thing out, pull the trans out, and drop the LS in there. But I think pretty much everything is gonna come out of this engine bay besides the brake master cylinder here. And if I can actually do an upgrade, I see that you can do like this Corvette C5 brakes and stuff on here. Actually, a guy down the street has a rear axle with the disc brakes on it, so maybe I'll scoop that up for this thing. I said I don't want to get too heavy into this thing, into this car, but at the same time, every little mod that's basically a bolt-on mod, might as well do it. So that way this car drives like it's, you know, a newer car, handles better, everything. Make it a lot more fun. And if it comes down to it and I had to sell it, it will increase the selling price for sure. Interior, like I said, everything's here. Everything's fairly clean. Headliner, we need to do that. Back here in down there, there's a bunch of water, so that's why we got the door seals. But you know, nothing looks real crazy. Everything looks like it's still in one piece. It's like it sat for a long time. Original radio, everything like that. But here it is, next project. Now this is in the way of everybody's stuff here, so this has to be a priority. Now, I think right off the bat, we get the engine and stuff pulled out, so that way we can push it out, get everything washed up, and then order parts. We gotta wait on parts. We'll probably go ride that show in Atlanta. By the time I come back, all the parts will be here. Swap everything in, at least get the engine and transmission in there, and maybe I can send it to a buddy up the road 20 minutes from here, and he can help me out with the engine harness and everything, get everything all wired up proper, and flash the ECU. So fire it up and ready to rock and roll. Then I'm sure from sitting and everything, we're gonna have to do bushings and ball joints and tie rods and all that stuff too. So it's gonna be a project. It's gonna take some time. I'm really excited to do this car, especially since my dad had one. It's gonna be hard to sell for that reason too, especially since it's like a mixture of my dad's car. I'll try to find a picture, maybe I can post it up with this too. If not, I'll get it in a future video while we're working on this car, because there's gonna be a lot of videos of this car. But yeah, it's gonna be a hard one to sell because it's a mixture. My dad's was an 86 and this is an 83, and same exact car, color, everything, just not T-topped. And myself personally, I'm not a fan of the T-tops. And we're gonna throw a big 060 in there just for a little bit of spice. So, tag along as we 6.0 LS swap my Gen 3 1983 Camaro. LFDF TV, can't wait to see what's coming next.